Hey guys, this is Zhao. I'm recording this video to help you out with your problem set. In this problem set, I ask you to extend the basic model that we developed on Wednesday, this Keynesian cross model, in order to include investment and in order to include government spending. Okay, so this video will walk you through how to do that. So in our basic, you can recall that our basic model, okay, we had consumption, we had personal savings. It was a very simplified model, and I want to use that as our starting point. Okay, so start off with that file, and then you can see in order to set this up, I've added a few things to the basic model. Okay, one is I've added a column to the left of personal consumption, as well as a column to the right of personal consumption. And I've labeled them after-tax income and total expenditures. There you go. How do you add a column? Well, you just right-click up here. Okay, and then you'll have this option to insert one left or right. That'll insert a column left or right. And then over here, you can see that I've added some parameters. Okay, in our original model, we only had these two parameters, autonomous income and the MPC. Now we're going to add investment, government spending, and taxes. I'm going to set all three of those equal to 10. Now this final term here, this government deficit term, okay, I'm calling that GNet, government deficit. I've set that equal to government spending minus taxes. Okay, so you can see I put in that formula, government spending minus taxes. Now if the government spends more than it collects in tax revenue, say they were to spend 20 but collect 10 in taxes, well then we would obviously be running a $10 deficit. Okay, for now set all of those equal to 10, and so our deficit will be 0. Okay, so what I want to do now is, one more thing. You'll notice that I've changed the form of this governing equation. Okay, our original governing equation was very simple, right? We had income in the subsequent period equal to income in this period times the MPC plus the margin plus the autonomous income. Okay. Now in this model, there's going to be two additional sources of spending in the economy, and therefore two additional sources of income in the subsequent period. Okay, you can see basically those two are the investment term and the government spending term. And this government spending we're going to finance with taxes that are deducted from people's incomes before they make the decision on how much to spend. Okay. Now, obviously, just putting that equation in there doesn't do anything. This is just to show you. Okay, we actually have to code the contents of this equation into our spreadsheet. So let me show you how to do that. So first, let's go into this after-tax income. Okay, and this is very straightforward. As the name suggests, this is just going to be your income minus taxes. So I'm going to select income over here. I'm going to select taxes. Okay, and then make sure you press function plus F4 or F4 on a PC, okay, and that's going to insert those dollar signs for you, or you could just type in the dollar signs, doesn't really matter. Okay, so that's our after-tax income, $90, 100 less $10 of taxes. Okay, I'm going to double-click this little square, that's going to update that column all the way down. Okay, then I'm going to go into personal consumption, and we have to change this a little bit, right, because right now, the way we have it set up, this refers to our income. It's 80% of our income plus the autonomous income term. Now, we want this to refer to our after-tax income. So I'm going to delete this B2, and I'm going to instead select C2. Okay, we'll make that change, and I want to take that and I want to drag that all the way down, okay, so that that formula is updated all the way down. Okay, and then finally, for total expenditure, well, before we didn't even have a total expenditure column in our model. Okay, that's because in our old model there was only personal consumption. We didn't make a distinction between personal consumption and total expenditure because consumers were the only people spending money in the economy. Now we're going to have the consumer spending money, but we're also going to have firms spending money in the form of investment, and we're also going to have the government spending money in the form of government spending. So this total expenditures term is going to be equal to personal consumption plus spending on investment plus government spending. Okay, and once again, I want to lock these two cells, okay, so that they update correctly. Okay, so let me copy that all the way down. And then finally we have net savings. Okay, so our net savings in our original case, okay, was just equal to the amount of money that we didn't spend. Okay, well, we have to make a few changes to that. Okay, first we have to once again change the income term that we had here to the after-tax income. So I'm going to change this to C2. Okay, so now this is basically 20% or 1 minus 80% of our after-tax income. That's the amount of money that consumers are going to save. Okay, but we're now, before they were just taking this money and stuffing it under their mattress, right? Now we're actually going to have this money do something. This money is going to finance two things. It's going to finance investment, and it's going to finance the government deficit if one exists. Okay, so it'll be as if firms and the government are borrowing money from the consumers, from whatever money that the consumers save, in order to finance their activities. Okay, so I'm going to say this is going to be equal to minus investment, and then minus the government deficit, which is currently 0. And again, I'm going to lock those two cells. Okay. There's one last change. Oh, and let's go ahead and let's update that formula all the way down. Okay, now there's one final change that we have to make. And that is that our new income term, okay, is no longer going to be equal to personal consumption. Remember that the income earned by consumers next period is equal to the total amount of money spent in the economy. Okay, before that was just equal to personal consumption, but now it's equal to this total expenditure term that we just computed. Okay, it's going to be equal to personal consumption plus investment plus government spending. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to update that formula to be total expenditures. Okay, and then finally I'm going to take that and I'm going to update that all the way downwards. Okay, and if you've done this correctly, you should see that the new steady state in the economy is equal to 110 units of income, $110 worth of income. Okay. And finally, what I want to do is I want to plot all of this stuff. Okay. So I'm going to select column A. I'm going to select column B. I'm going to select column D, E, and F. And then I'm holding down Control to select all of those. Okay. I'm going to go to Insert, Chart. Okay, we're going to pick the smooth line chart. I'm going to check use row 1 as headers. That'll name these things correctly. And then very important, I'm going to check use column A as labels. Okay, and so we'll have the periods showing up down here. And then I'm going to click Insert. Okay, and there's my graph showing the new steady state of the economy here at 110. Okay, now if you want, you can also change the title. Okay, you can say graph of economy or whatever you want to call it. Okay, on the vertical axis here, we're going to have the various variables such as income, etc. Okay, and on the horizontal axis, we're going to have period. Okay. Okay, so once you have that model set up, okay, the problem set is going to ask you to run through a number of changes. What happens to the steady state if you double investment? What happens to the steady state if you double government spending? It's going to ask you to experiment with the model. Okay, so make sure you have this set up correctly, and then you'll be able to answer the rest of the questions on your problem set. Okay, thanks for watching.